Well, guys, as it looked like the Minnesota Timberwolves and Jimmy Butler were going to have that meeting, and we talked about it in the last video on this channel, that it was supposed to be the most important meeting for both Jimmy Butler and the Minnesota Timberwolves to resolve the issues that they have with one another. But it looks like those issues might be too much for the Timberwolves and Jimmy Butler to overcome, as Jimmy Butler has requested a trade from the Minnesota Timberwolves. And here on the charge, we're going to be going over what this entails.
LeBron James all the way in. Here comes Simmons the other way, 3-on-2. Simmons eludes the defender and lays it in with that. Certainly the length altered that shot. Out of the quick steps.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Bernie here, bringing you yet another video here on the charge, giving the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And guys, before we get started on to today's video talking about Jimmy Butler and the trade implications that could be happening with the Minnesota Timberwolves, go and check out our other videos we have here on the channel as well. We, of course, have our Fixer Upper series on the Boston Celtics and the LA Lakers. Go and check those ones out as they are interesting watches to see. And also, guys, go ahead and leave a comment in the videos about this whole Jimmy Butler situation, what you guys think. More engagement in our videos means more people will see it and more people will subscribe to our channel. And guys, we're trying to get to 1K by the end of the year. And if you could do that for me, that would be a huge help for this channel. But now let's get started on this news. I've done enough of my promo. Jimmy Butler is seeking a trade to the Nets, Clippers, or Knicks. And this is, of course, coming from Adrian Wojnarowski and other NBA sources to him. Minnesota's guard, Jimmy Butler, is requesting a trade, and his three preferred destinations are the Brooklyn Nets, the LA Clippers, and the New York Knicks, league sources told ESPN on Wednesday. Butler wants to trade to a team that plans to sign him to a 5-year maximum contract that will be worth up to $190 million. In the summer, and this list could include and expand based upon the Timberwolves and the rival team's willingness to negotiate a trade for him. For now, however, Timberwolves president and coach Tom Thibodeau has no interest in trading him and wants to try and return to the playoffs with him in the lineup, and that's, of course, according to league sources. Now, first thing that we have to talk about, of course, is the video I made earlier, 2 days ago, talking about that this meeting with Tom Thibodeau and Jimmy Butler was the most important meeting, and I said that Jimmy Butler should really seek a trade because this is just absolutely ridiculous that Tom Thibodeau is bringing in these old school players that he had when he was a Chicago Bull coach. I mean, there's just so many times, and I know that there's a lot of issues and beef. I mean, we even had a tweet from Andrew Wiggins' brother saying hallelujah when there was the Jimmy Butler trade that was coming in today. So we know that there are issues with Jimmy Butler and his teammates, and we also have some sort of situations where it feels like Karl Towns isn't putting enough work in to really solidify himself to be a top NBA star, and that's the reason why Jimmy Butler is upset with his Minnesota team and wants to trade. But the three teams that I'm seeing here, this could potentially be a thing, especially if he decides to go to the New York Knicks. This could be a huge move for Kyrie Irving to go to the Knicks as well. Because once he's in place, then you're going to have Kristaps Porzingis, Jimmy Butler, and Kyrie Irving as your front three guys. But again, with the thing with Kyrie Irving, and I'll talk about him probably in a different video, but the one thing I'll say here is that if he wants his own team, that's not going to be it. I'm sorry, you're not going to get your own team that way. But let's go back to the Jimmy Butler thing, because that's the more interesting thing. We know that Tom Thibodeau is not a very good coach, in my opinion. I think that he is, I wouldn't say overrated, but he definitely is a coach that has passed his prime in terms of he had his peak performance in Chicago, and now it's time to move on. It's time to be either step back and be an assistant coach again like you were in Boston, or to really work on a younger team and see if you can build them up that way, because this Minnesota Timberwolves team needs a new direction, especially with the players that they have. Think about, they have Andrew Wiggins, who, is going to be what he is, just an average player, going to stick there for the rest of his career, because I haven't really seen much growth from him. And you also have Karl Towns, who looks like he could be a really good player, but just doesn't put in the work enough to the liking of Jimmy Butler, who's always in the gym. Meanwhile, Karl Towns is online Twitch streaming, which, there's nothing wrong with it. Josh Hart does it as well, but there are times to do it and there are times not to do it, and I feel like Jimmy Butler's had enough of the Twitch streaming of Karl Towns and really wants to solidify himself and really get there up in the playoffs. Because, look at what happened last season. They had to fight their way to get into the playoffs, right? They didn't just go and walk in gracefully and easily. Once Jimmy Butler was injured, they fell down all the way to 8th and eventually the 9th seed. But it took a win and you're in type of situation for Minnesota to get into the playoffs, and that really was a sign of relief, because I think if they didn't get into the playoffs, Jimmy Butler would have been gone in a heartbeat. And Tom Thibodeau, if I'm you, man, I decide to step down from one of my roles, whether it's player of basketball operations or coach, because obviously you're not doing a very good job at either of them, because you're bringing in guys that are way past their prime and guys that won't really help you out, and you'll grind guys to the bone. That's the reason why Jimmy Butler was injured. I'm just going to put it out there. I think that the Minnesota Timberwolves are better off trading him. The best team, I think, for Jimmy Butler would probably be if we're just looking at it right now, I think the Brooklyn Nets have the better roster out of these three teams. Yeah, you have Kristaps Porzingis, but he's injured right now and he won't be coming back until later in the season. I think the Brooklyn Nets, in my opinion, have a good roster. They have Jarrett Allen, they have Spencer Dinwiddie. But if I'm them, if I'm the New York Knicks, I am not making the same mistakes that I had before in the previous past where I traded for an all-star player and then I end up giving up way too much for him and then it ends up costing my team years down the line when he decides, you know what, I want to trade out of here. That is why I think that these three teams, if they're very interested in Jimmy Butler, and I know that the Timberwolves are not going to be trading him, you guys should wait. Honestly, you guys should wait until the end of the season so you don't give up anything. I mean, it would take a crazy trade from another team that is not on this list for Jimmy Butler to come in and just give the Timberwolves like an amazing deal that they'd be like, you know what, we're signing him. Like if Orlando Magic came in with a crazy deal, which they don't really have the players to, or the Denver Nuggets. I mean, if one of those teams just comes in with a crazy offer, I can see the Timberwolves pulling the trigger on it just because I think that with the Brooklyn Nets, they're not going to be giving up any of their good young players. The LA Clippers don't really have that much to give up, and the New York Knicks don't have that much to give up either. So in my opinion, that is why I think that the Brooklyn Nets are the best option if you're going to go for a trade because they have the most value in terms of you guys have Jarrett Allen, Spencer Dinwiddie, I talked about again, Alan Crabb, who's not really that good of a player, but you also have first-round picks as well. In my opinion, honestly, like I said, don't trade him. Just hold on to him. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets, Clippers, or the New York Knicks, I'm not making a move for him until next season. I mean, yeah, he won't be making as much money. I understand that he's just trying to make as much Skrilla as he can. But if I'm those teams, I wait a little bit and then sign him because I think that's going to be worth a lot more to that team than, you know, we saw what happened with the Carmelo Anthony deal, and we definitely saw what happened with the Brooklyn Nets trading to the Boston Celtics. They just got ransacked by the whole Boston Celtics and Danny Ainge. I mean, they took everything from him. So if I'm those three teams, I'm patient and I'm waiting. But this is also an interesting thing for Jimmy Butler. Will he be satisfied with wherever he goes? I understand that right now he's in a very bad situation with those three players that I've talked about with Karl Anthony Towns, Jimmy Butler, and Andrew Wiggins. Those three guys, there looks like there's a lot of chemistry issues and a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that we don't really know about. So it'll be interesting to see when that stuff comes to light. What is the truth and what is more of a fabrication? That'll be an interesting thing to see. But anyway, guys, I want to know your comments down below on what team Jimmy Butler should be on. Should he be on the Knicks? Should he be on the Nets? Or should he be on the Clippers? I know LA is a glamour city, but we all know that the Clippers are right now not built for the NBA playoffs, especially with how loaded the West is right now. But anyway, guys, this has been your boy Brennan here on The Charge. Like I said, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and also don't forget to help out the channel get to 1K. Anyway, guys, I'm going to catch you in the next video. Peace.